Hello. I think we're on. So today we're going to do a dandelion, and I just seriously just got it done for you guys. So hopefully you like it. I don't know if it's going to exactly look like this, but that's my inspiration. And it is dandelions because my sister brought up that the first flower that little kids give their mom and dad is generally a dandelion because that's what they see and that's what's in everybody's yard. So that is why we're going to do a dandelion. So grab your drinks and let's paint. So Carmen, since he does a lot better than me right now,
right,
he has to be the one you see the most of, and watch both of us. So the colors that you need to pour are red, yellow, blue, black, and white. So go ahead and get that poured if you haven't already done so. And just have a variety of brushes. And Carmen keeps stealing my brushes. Every time I look, you're stealing my brushes. But get like a big flat one and a little flat one, something with a point. Any size canvas, something, a palette to put your paint on. Instead of pouring mine and having it here, I poured it off to the side and then I'll grab some and then I'll mix it on here. That's the way I can just kind of have a little more control in showing you. Okay, buddy, you really did steal my brushes, Carmen Espinoza. You did.
Did you want one of those?
I would. I would like that one. Okay, everyone, here we go. Let's get into our blue and our white first, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and get some blue and set it aside. And then I'm going to get a whole bunch of white, like 2 times more white than the blue. So 2 to 1. And go ahead and mix yourself up a pretty good amount. Go ahead and get that mixed up. It's pretty blue, huh, Carmen?
It is. Yours is whiter than mine.
I think I've just mixed mine more. Okay. Can you hear a cat? He's like, let me out. He wants to go outside, and it's every time that we decide to paint that our cats go crazy. Our 2 adopted cats. Okay, so it's a pretty blue. And we're going to focus on like this, let's see, where do I got this? Just did it. You'd think I remember, huh? Like this. Boom. So we're going to have it kind of like, this is where all the action is going to be, and we're going to have whiter color down through here. So just keep that in mind. Lots of action here, darker blue there. And let's just go ahead and start laying down some paint with that in mind. So I want you to go back and forth and just make sure you get all those white dots, which is this stuff behind your thing. Make sure you get that covered up, going back and forth, left, right, whatever you need to do to get that done. I want you to do this section right here first. Did you guys have a good week? I hope so. It's been kind of not a great week for us, but there's always next week. Right? Right, Carmen?
That's right, Lena.
Okay, so there's that. Now I want you to go ahead. We still got that big pile of blue, but I want you to grab some straight white on your brush. And I want you to go ahead and feed some of that straight white right through here. And grab some of that blue up on the top, up above it. I don't want it to be like a definite line. I want it to be a gradual thing going on. And then right through here, down at the bottom, let's go ahead and just get some of this more wider through that section. And again, no definite lines at all on this painting. Just nice and flowy, but not like totally. I don't want it all blended. I want to be able to see your brush strokes. And go up to the top here and just kind of spread that through there. And Carmen does his own thing, so you don't have to listen to me either. I don't mind. I won't hurt you. I haven't hurt anyone yet. I might hurt him later, but I won't hurt him yet. Not in front of you guys anyway. Don't worry. Okay, so now I want you to grab your straight blue for a minute. Straight blue. Unless you have like a really dark blue. But I hope you don't. I hope you just have a medium blue. And normally it would be a medium blue in these, in the stuff that you guys are buying, like at Michael's, the cheaper stuff. I hope that's what you're getting. I hope you're not getting the pro kind. So right through here now, or maybe you are a professional and you should be getting that. Don't listen to me. I'm tired. Well, listen to me though. Just don't really, really listen to me. Listen to me like your kids listen to you. Now you know what I'm talking about. Okay, grab some more of that straight blue again, and just go ahead and get over here. Carmen's doing his own thing, really doing his own thing. He's like ignoring me is what he's doing, guys.
Blue and white on my canvas.
The honeymoon period is over, ladies. Okay, now I want you to go in with straight white again. And we kind of have to do this fast. Now with the straight white, I want you to kind of go through here. And you still have blue in your brush, I'm sure. So that's okay. Did you see me drip all over my place? It's all right. I'm the one that cleans this. Well, me and Carmen both clean, but you know what I mean. I clean up my own mess. So basically, we're just trying to give the painting a lot of movement. There's really no rhyme or reason, except for I do want it lighter in some sections, but I do want movement in my painting because we're going to have butterflies and dandelions. Okay, I told you, dandelions. Well, I guess I already did tell you. Just ignore me. I'm tired. And also, I'm on a lot of like nerve blockers, which probably aren't supposed to do anything to your brain, but well, that's my excuse. I'm sticking to it. All right. So I'm going to let that sit for a minute, and I'm going to clean off my brush. Just kind of like dry that out for a minute. And what do I want to do? I really want to get this a little bit whiter in through this section here. So just by sitting there for a minute and I wiped out my brush, I'm going to go ahead and get white on both sides of that now. And I have not a lot of it, but I have quite a bit. And I do want to go ahead and kind of get some of this light fluffiness in here. So I'm not going to push as hard on it. So don't push as hard and just kind of get that a little bit lighter. And I don't want like a big blob of white on there. So definitely do blend it in so you don't have just like a big goop of white. We don't want that. We want it to be nice and airy and pretty and butterfly-y. And then as you go through here, you'll kind of mix that blue in again with that dark blue that you had in there. And now you should be starting to come up with a really pretty blue. I am. So I hope that you are too. Okay, because the background really is important into this painting because there's not a lot to it. Okay, and then I want a little more blue right through here. So get a little bit of blue, straight blue, and get it flat on your brush. Flat, 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 so there's not a lot. And then now we're really going to focus on this section right through here. So I want you to make little zigzaggies right in this section here, all about down to there. And we're really focusing now on making this a little bit deeper through here so that we have some dimension. And go ahead and grab some more blue, get it on both sides and have it really super thin. Thin to win. Dork, huh? All right. A little more. And now I'm going to have that even darker right through here. Air it out. Push light, 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 light. Light is the only way you're not going to start pulling paint off of there. And you still might. So even lighter than that. Now I want you to wipe your brush off a little bit. In this section here, wipe it off as good as you can. And I want you to kind of like get this paint right through here. Nice. And it should be kind of grabby right now, which is going to give you a little more texture, which is what I want. We want a little texture through here. And then I'm going to have you add even a little bit more white through here, all right? In just a second. So we're just prepping your canvas. We're trying to make it look light and fluffy. Do you see how that's kind of, oh goodness. It's kind of making it light and fluffy. That's what we want. And then dry off your brush again and get white, but this time I want you to make sure the white is thin. Both sides, thin, 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 thin. So your brush is nice and thin of white. And we're just going back and forth and doing stuff because we're trying to make a lot of texture. And I'm trying to make you believe that these are clouds right here that are just like something you really can't see. So don't go working on clouds. Don't want that. But we're just making your imagination believe that there might be some white clouds. Not too high in through here, just more through this section here. And then right through here. Go ahead and blend that and get that. See how it's kind of grabbing on mine? I hope you could see that that's what it's doing. Again, don't look at Carmen. He's being a butt face. Okay, get some more white on your paintbrush and right through this section now. Go ahead and get that nice and choppy white, but not really fat white. Just kind of so you can see it, like more cloudy looking things in there. It's like, what are you doing? I don't know. I don't know. Okay, how's that? Now, let's go ahead and rinse out our brushes. All right, and dry it off. Now, I want you to go ahead and get into your straight white again with that same brush we were using. And I want you to find a place right about here in the dark blue area. And I want you to scrub in a dandelion. You're just scrubbing it in. And it's going to not be white. It's going to be kind of a bluey when you scrub it in. But I want it scrubbed in. Just like that. Then get on your brush. Or dry it off a little bit. I need more white. Get some more white on there. And let's scrub one in. Right. How do I want this painting to go? Maybe right here. And then let's scrub one in. How do I want this to go there? Like this one right here. Okay. Now we're going to let that sit for just a minute. And while that's sitting, let's go ahead and get those stems going. So let's get into our yellow with that same brush. And that blue that we made earlier, go ahead in the corner of that blue, just in the corner of it. I want you to go ahead and add that yellow, and it's going to make an instant green for you out of that yellowish, that whitish blue that you made earlier. So that way you don't even have to like mess around. You just instantly get it. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Just like that. Okay, nice, pretty bright green. Now I'm trying to think what I want it to do so it goes away different than the one I just did. Because I failed to launch on that one. So I want my butterflies. Let's see. Let's try it the opposite direction, you guys. Go ahead and sit your brush down. Lightly, 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 just glide it over your canvas and go slow as you want. And then reload and make sure you flatten your brush again every time so you seal that shut. And then I want you to go over it again. And then I want you to do it one more time. What you're doing is you're cutting that paint down and making it move to the edges. And you don't even have to get extra paint on it this time. Just go lightly over it. Do it as many times as you want until you start to see it get lighter in the center. Okay, just like that. Let's go ahead and do one of the other ones now. Get into that same paint. Let's have this one go. I'm going to have it be right here on this one and have it go down like that. Same thing, you guys. Just do the exact same thing we did on the other one. Okay. And now which way should I have the other one go? So we're going to have some butterflies in there. I think what I'm going to do so it looks like we're looking down on them maybe. Oh, we can't be doing that because of the way it is. Let's do this way. So I totally changed my mind about what I said earlier. Don't hold it against me. I'm winging it. If this doesn't turn out, it won't turn out for all of us. But at least we're having fun, huh? Okay, how are you guys doing? Hope good. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and rinse out my brush. I'm going to wipe off the paint first and then rinse it off. Go ahead and do that yourself. Let's go ahead and start our butterflies so that we can get layers upon layers of them, okay? Since none of them are sitting on the plant, on the flowers, we can do that. So I want you to get into your really pretty yellow that you have. Make a pile with that. And then some white. And I want you to come up with, you know, a really light butterfly. You know, like those little yellow ones that fly around that are just really pretty. And they're very pale. And there's abundance of them, and they're usually super small, but they're very pretty. Those are kind of the ones that I was thinking about for us, because dandelions are yellow and then they're white one, of course, you make a wish. So I kind of wanted it to be a make a wish white ones where they're ready to seed, but then have the yellow of the butterfly to resemble the dandelion when it's, you know, you get it, poetic. Yeah, okay. That's the way it is. That's what I'm saying. Okay, so let's make a butterfly right here. Scrub one in, just kind of keep moving the paint. And those ones, there's not a lot to them. It's like two little squares like this. I guess those aren't squares. What are those called, guys? Rectangle? Yeah, that's what it is. And then we'll have the little black insides, a startling black. But we don't want to go overboard with the butterflies and make them too detailed, because that's not the painting either. I mean, you can, but that's not what I have in mind. But if that's what you want, go for it. It's your painting, huh? And then I'm going to go ahead and go with the butterfly, one of them like this. And then its wing comes up like that. So basically, I'm just tapping it down. And then, of course, we'll go ahead and get that prettier later on. But we just have to lay down the first base of it. And then as it dries, then we can add some more. And I still want to stick with this going down like that. I think it will flow really good that way. So I'm going to go ahead and put a butterfly, maybe one flying around like right here. And you only see half of it, you know, like, you know what I mean? This is going to be his body. Maybe he's a little bit bigger. Just go with me there. I'll show you. It's kind of hard to see inside my head, huh? And then I don't like how thick this one is, so I'm going to thin that down just a tiny bit. And then we're going to have a butterfly that's going to be on our flower. So let's go ahead and put him in there. He's going to be like this. So just go ahead and do something like that for now. We don't want to overwork it, and then we'll put his little black body into it, okay? And that way he'll actually be sitting on it with his body later on. And I think that'll be good because we'll have all of these little movement things showing later. So that should make it fall the way we want it to. I do believe. Okay. Let's let that dry and then we'll add another layer. So go ahead and clean your brush off. And let's go back to our little dandelions again. Let's go ahead and get into some more white. Get white on both sides of your brush and then flatten it down so that you don't have an abundance of it. And then I want you to go ahead and scrub it in. Not everywhere. Just on the side where we think the sun might be hitting it a little bit more. And on mine, I'm going to have it on this side. So it's all on the right-handed side. Then I'm going to take my finger and just kind of get that in there a little bit more. You don't have to do that if you don't want to get it dirty. We're just scrubbing it in right now. We'll get a little more detail a little bit later. Okay. We'll let that dry for a second. Actually, I think we're going to make a little purple in there. How about, I'm trying to think if I want it to have the purple or not. Let's do it with a little bit of purple. Let's take a little bit with our dirty brush, a little blue and a little bit of red. A little bit of blue, a little bit of red. Mix it up. That will make you a darker purple. And because we just got done adding white in there, let's go ahead and add a little bit of that purple in there, like that. And don't worry, just kind of like fluff it in there. And then we're going to have to go to a smaller brush here in a minute. Notice how this side, I didn't go off to this right side yet. Let's go ahead and clean our brushes and go with a smaller brush because I'm having a hard time with that big one, and you probably are too. So I'm just going to go ahead and switch out my brush to something like this. It's a flat brush. And I'm going to go ahead and make little movements just to blend it a little bit. Just a little bit on this side. I'm not blending the whole thing because I want it to have a lot of different looks to it. Can you see that? I hope so, guys. We are going to add, all those little other things to this, so don't get nervous on it. I'm just kind of letting it sit for a minute. Now I want you to go ahead and make some of those little spores, or what do they call it, that would come out, seeds. So we're going to make a couple seeds. So by doing that, I want you to take this little brush that you have and get into that purple, and you might have to make some more. So again, that's red and blue, or just red and red, which is what I was doing. And mix that up. And we want it to be more of the blue purple than the red purple. So if yours is a little more on the red side, just add a tad bit more blue. You can make all sorts of color purples. There's just so many different variances. Okay. Get your brush nice and flat on both sides. So just go ahead and get it, put some on one side and one on the other and smash it down until you get it nice and small. And then I want you to go ahead and make something that looks like this. Go whop, whop, whop. Whoop. And then one maybe over here. Basically, you can kind of make them any way you want it. They're just flying around. And put them wherever you want to. I'm going to put one maybe right here. And I'm going to go ahead and make one that's kind of like a crisscross, like we're only seeing the top of it and we are not seeing the stem of it, like that. And maybe one kind of like that over here too. Okay. And then maybe add a little, since we've got that color on there, maybe a little bit through here, just add a little more depth to it. And then let's wipe that off, okay? And rinse it. And that it means your brush. Sorry, guys. Now I want you to get into your straight white again with that little brush and get paint on both sides of it. So white paint on both sides of your little brush you just used. And we're going to add those little spores. And even though we didn't make lines for all of them, we'll still give them more. I just don't want all of those lines to be showing. Because in reality, you really can't see a lot of stuff. then I want you to go ahead and have some little dots that come around in different variants of sizes. It just show where some of those spores have fallen off, and it also is going to make your painting look a little bit more airy, I think. How you doing, guys? Are you still having fun? Do I still have you? Or did you turn me out already? Or shut me off? Not nice. Okay, so now our dandelions. I want you to go ahead and go on this edge on this side again and just scrub in a little more of that white. Just a little bit more on this side. We're going to wait for this purple to dry a little bit, and then we'll do some dots in there. But we'll wait for it to dry a minute, all right? Let's work on our butterflies. So let's get that brush we're using right now and get it into that yellow. And this time, I want the yellow to even be more white yellow, like a really, really light yellow this time. And I want you to gently, like, just make your painting, just barely touch it, like, because we don't want it to, we want it to resemble butterflies, but we don't necessarily need it to like really be a real butterfly. So we don't want it to have like sharp edges and stuff, like scrumble even. You know, if you can't paint loose, you might have to just scrumble. Some people just can't paint loose. And then this one here. We just want you to know that it's a butterfly, but not really be too overworked. Now let's get back into our just plain white again and get it smashed down on that little brush. And let's go ahead and just kind of work on some of those spores, not all of them. Am I calling them right? I don't think they would be called spores because that's mold. Right? Slowly build this up. Now, in through here, your purple should have had a little bit of time to dry. So now I want you to go ahead and make little movements like this. Basically, you're kind of making the tops of it. You know, like the, you're making these little things. And so those are the tops of those. Boop, boop, boop. And so they're just not a flower. I haven't been a flower girl till lately. Now I'm painting flowers, if anyone follows me. What's up with that? I don't know the right terminology is what I'm saying. And I never play these back because I don't want to hear myself talk. So I'm apologizing in advance that you have to listen to me. And then just a little bit lightly go all the way around it so we can see that it's a dandelion. And I don't know how your butterflies are doing, but let's go ahead and add some more to it. We're just going to keep on adding and adding. So some more of that yellow. Maybe you found out you didn't like the color I told you to make, so you want to make it a little bit different. You just do want to on those butterflies. Now, now we need to add like the little spores and stuff. They don't really look cute when you don't do a lot to them. So what we're going to do is go back to our purple that we had and add a little bit of white to the purple that we were making. So it's going to be a light lavender this time. So go ahead and go back to your purple and add a little white in there. And then we'll go back to our little, whatever these are, seeds. And we will put a little bit of that lavender on top of them. Oops, or get into your black. Whatever. I have black on my other canvas and I went to wipe it dry. Instead, I got into it. But I do like it, so I'm going to suggest that you do the same. Get a little bit of black on your brush and stick it in that purple that we had initially. Put a little black in that purple. A little black in that purple. Yeah, that's what I meant to say. And then just go ahead and outline a little bit of some places in your seeds so that just every time you make some kind of improvement on it, it just makes your painting look all that more better, even if you don't know what it is. You'll be like, what is that? I don't know. It does work though. And let's work on our little butterflies too, since we're on our black. Go ahead and get black on both sides of that flat brush, that teeny tiny one, black on both sides. And then, like if you have a butterfly that's in the middle right here, just go ahead and make a little bit of a black body in there. Improvise. You don't go overboard unless you want to. On this one, we'll just have his body kind of come down like that. This one, how is he, you guys? What is he doing? I don't know at this point. I know what this one's doing. How is this one? And then you can have little legs coming down if you wanted, and little antennas. But to take the time to do it right, you know, I'm just going really fast. My hand's falling asleep. All right. So do you see how that black kind of pulled it together? Now we're going to do some abstract things to kind of make it go together too, but we're going to work, you can work on that white even more. But I would say go ahead and get your big brush out that we were using in the beginning and get it really cleaned off. And now we're going to do the detail work, which is what really does in the end make your painting come together. So I'm going to get some more of this paint out that I was using and put it up here. Do you like my makeshift, the things that I do for you guys? It's embarrassing if you just see what a disaster I've got going on for you. Just so that you guys can paint with us. Okay. You see what I'm doing? No rhyme or reason. We'll get more professional, I promise. It might take us a couple days. All right. So now I'm just going to throw in some abstract looks on there. So maybe I'll put in, maybe I want just some straight blue. So I'm going to take my brush and get into some straight blue here and maybe throw in some looks like this in there. You can even, you know, if you paint something over like that, you just go back in again and you know, put it back in there. You can, I always tell everybody to kind of do whatever makes them feel, you know, however they feel. And in our class. It's like, because a lot of people paint better than me. In the acrylic and maybe in oil too. I don't know. Maybe I need to stop painting. I don't know, you guys. Who knows? Anyway, you would just do stuff like this, and it's just really sporadic. Because normally I wouldn't do stuff like this, but with this one, I kind of like that look because that's the only way you're going to be loose. That's the only way that I can sometimes teach you to be loose, is to actually go over stuff like this. And then, and then you repaint over it. And then all of a sudden, it's stuff like this that makes your art start to come alive. But it's hard to do that. And then maybe you'll want to go ahead and take some straight white right through here and make sure your brush is clean. Mine isn't, so I could actually end up with something that I don't want. But I'm hurrying for you so you can have time to do it this without me talking. But I'm just lightly going over that and giving it a look of something going on. What's going on? But it sure looks cool, doesn't it? I think so. Anyway, do you, Carmen, think it looks cool?
I think it looks really cool. I like that.
Just kind of giving it a different little sort of look, and you can be like a Picasso, like whoop, 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 whoop. I don't know what I'm doing, but it's good. And then you can add water to it too, the white, if you don't like that look of of it dragging, but I sure do. So the end part of it is I'm going to take some, what did I use? I used yellow. So yellow and white. And what I did is I showed the pattern of the butterflies flying. So I just kind of like made those little, I made little slashes on my other one. But since I don't have that brush, I'm doing dots. But, it just shows them where they were flying and what direction they were going. So if you want them to have the little slashes, make sure you have a different brush, like that little small brush, and do. But then this is just kind of giving it a little bit of a pattern and adding some fun to your painting. And if children are doing this, this will be the fun part for them, which I kind of thought parents might be painting with their kids. And this part right here on the limbs, you can also now go back with some yellow and white and add just a tiny bit of blue again and have a different, go ahead and add a brighter yellow so that your painting will stand out even more on your stems. And you can't get that until the painting really, really dries. But you really do need to take the time to do that, because see how that just totally put it together. Now, dandelion things, if you want them to be the true color and you want to throw a little splash, if you add a little red and yellow and a tad bit of blue, you will actually come up with dandelion green. And if you really want to have that color, again, that would be your yellow and your red, and with a tiny bit of blue. And I put in too much white with mine, and I don't want to have to start over again. So I'm trying to make it work. But I had some white in my brush. But I'm being lazy. But just to add a little more pop of color. See how that gives it a little more color? And again, I'm just hurrying, you guys. My right hand is completely asleep and it's hurting me. So I really need to stop. But it is going to dry really, really cute. I think it is. And just keep adding more yellow to your butterflies, because the butterflies really do need to stand out, and mine haven't yet, but they will. Oh, now they are. See how much difference that is? But you do want to go ahead and take the time to get those butterflies that bright yellow. You really do take the time to do that. If you don't do anything at all, just make sure those up. And I got into the black, so I quit. But I hope you guys had fun. And again, Carmen's painting better than me.
No, I'm not.
But I want you guys to all have just so much fun. And then maybe you can give this, if you want to, give it to one of your moms or you know, because it's kind of an easy one for Mother's Day, with the idea that most moms do get dandelions. And dads, my son, my oldest son, I was there when she gave him a dandelion once, and he put it behind his ear, and she grinned from ear to ear, and it just meant so much to her. And I got flowers from my boys, both of my boys, and they would pick those dandelions, and I was so allergic to them that I didn't care because it just meant the world to me. And so I hope that you guys understand why we did this. And I'm sorry that I have to hurry through it, but I do hope you guys have fun. Thank you so much. You guys have a good night.
Happy Friday.
Yep. Bye, you guys.